How you doing, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Marn Time. You're here with myself, Big Will, Bala Alex, and Bala Joe. Before we begin, of course, I'd like to acknowledge traditional owners of where I'm hosting from, the Dark and Young people of Central Coast, New South Wales, and also shout out to where Bala Alex and Bala Joe is in Townsville, Biddle and Walkarookabar country. Today we're just going to talk about mental health, how our personal experiences with mental health has gone, how we've come out of it, but as well, how do we sort of keep ourselves from slipping back down. So that's what we'll yarn about today. And then, we'll have a bit of fun as well. I have a game set up for the boys, little trivia game, so that's going to be pretty fun. But as well as, we'll just yarn up and we'll go from there. But we'll check in. How you doing, boys? Who wants to go first?
Yeah, doing good. Pretty crazy week this week. Training hard in the gym with Bala Joey next to me and the other boys. Had Mandeep come back this week from work, so we killed him in the gym as well. Poor Bala be sore today. Got a wedding today to go to as well. So he did the legs twice in 3 days. So he'll be feeling it today at the wedding. Hopefully he don't have to do no squats or anything in between the reception or whatever's going on out there. But
Oof.
yeah, I'm doing good. Feeling good.
Yep.
Looking good.
Looking good.
Yeah. Tasting
Which way
good. I
you
mean,
got?
Nah, I'm good. I've been doing good. Just crazy week. Just gym been good. Been smashing it lately. All the boys been killing it. Seeing results with everyone. Just everyone's pushing themselves, and just got to make sure we recover. Just for that going forward. But yeah, nothing. Just living life, bro. Working.
And how are you feeling, Will?
yeah, I'm feeling all right. Same thing again. I think last week I had chest infection still coming out of it. I can feel now that because good ways during that last few days, especially last week when we were recording, your boy couldn't keep any food down. Yeah, even though probably TMI, but this time around now, like this week, the cough is still there, but I've been able to keep food down. My boss started back at work this week. She's like, "You lost so much weight." I was like, "That's not a good thing." Tell you, the bloody haven't been able to eat, haven't been able to sleep properly. It's been yuck. But yeah, I guess back at work, back in the schools where I am here down in New South Wales. I work out in the Hunter, so being able to go back into schools and just sort of see the kids again. And because it's term 2, we have a work camp coming up here in June. So basically all hands on deck for planning of this camp and all this extra thing on how to coordinate all the different schools. And because there's also going to be Sydney schools coming up for the camp as well. So yeah, quite busy at work. Yesterday when I was working from home, I actually had to do work. Sorry, Lord. But no, I guess all in all, I've been going well. Nothing too crazy down here. Just getting to the flow of things again.
Which way?
Yeah.
Your camping locations? You go camping to the same location all the time, or different ones this time?
So there's usually about 3 camps in the year. Last year we only had 2. So for instance, last year we had a camp there's a cultural centre called Marook, and that's up at Port Stephens, which is it's about 45 minutes north of Newcastle, so Warramai country. And so we went there, but then we had a December camp last year just before the Christmas break, and we went to Glenrock, which is just south of Newcastle. And it's like an old scout camp. But tell you, those cabins, because it's a scout camp, those cabins didn't have aircon. So when you go bed, bruh, it was hot, it was stinking. But different places. Every time we go for a camp, just at the moment they're all sort of on the coast. But I'm thinking of pushing for next year's camp to maybe be out west, like in Dubbo or Tamworth or somewhere on desert, on on the red country down here. But no, so different locations. We try to go different locations every time.
And when you go camping, what activities you do with the kids?
So when we went to Marook last year, and that was like winter camp, so it was nice and cold. But because it was a cultural center, we had the staff that sort of run that cultural center that was able to take kids out on country, explain all the different sites. Sort of the second last day, we were able to take the kids out to sort of this piece of piece of land where the cultural workers showed the kids how to make coolamans. So that was pretty cool. But for instance, like December camp, because it was a scout camp, it was only just us as sort of World Vision staff. So we had to sort of come up with our own thing. So myself and Arnie Yvonne, the old Tosharalna Arnie I work with, her and I sort of spearheaded like TSI dance, and she was yarning about different ways on cultural things. But yeah, because we're so far away as well from our own country, we sort of just try and wing it as much as we can, of course, while staying culturally safe and respectful. But yeah, usually when we're at a cultural centre, it's usually the cultural workers there that sort of spearhead a lot of things. Yeah, and I've been on a few work camps too, like not even here, but there when I was back in Townsville. There was one time I took kids down to Proserpine. Yeah,
Remember that one?
I just say that didn't end too good. But anyways, I don't want to go into it. So there was a lot of traumatic experience there. Good ways. Anyways, poor things. But anyways, how's work for you guys going? I'm yarning about my work. What about work for you guys? Do you go on camps, Alex, or no?
Well, not ever since I've been back in Townsville.
Mm.
So I moved back here in November. I haven't been on a camp yet, and we're in May now. So, but that's all due to as well the weather. We've had a lot of rain in Townsville this year. Can't take kids camping in the rain because that's a risk in itself. But at my old job, yeah, camping a lot up there. When I used to work at Jubble Binner up in Cairns, used to take the kids up camping all over the Daintree.
Oh.
China Camp up near Woodgill. Our other location, Wildwood was right on the river, the Daintree River. The house where we camped at was just right there on the banks of the Daintree River.
Yeah.
Another spot where we've gone camping up there is at a place called Battle Camp in the Upper Daintree. And they call that Battle Camp because that's where tribes used to meet and do battle. So we took the boys
There's
up
battle,
there as well.
or
No, go to war.
yeah, I'll go to war.
And then obviously get together and have a big feast after, sort out the differences. Other locations we've gone up there is just to Mungali Falls up in Atherton.
Oh, yep.
And Lake Tinaroo. Lake Tinaroo was a good camp because we ended up hiking to a waterfall, Wyndon Falls. So if you're up in the Cairns region, Tablelands region, Wyndon Falls, good little walk, but scary, eh? Because it was high, but true. Them kids there too, when we're trying to make sure them kids don't be silly because that drop, windy. I was just chilling by the water. They're there looking over. Hey, get back. But no, it was scary, eh? But some of them young fellas didn't even come down to have a look at the waterfall because they're now scared of heights. But no, that was a deadly hike. There we hiking through the rainforest, walking past big snakes.
Because it gets there, because you said rainforest too, some of them rocks that you'd be walking on that hike would be slippery, eh? Because of the moss or...
No, we didn't mainly walk on rocks until we got to the waterfall. That's the only rocky part of it. It was all just dirt and scrubs and trees.
Was it hot up there?
Nah, we went in wintertime. Oh, just coming into winter. So probably around this time of year now up there. So it was nice and cool, yeah.
Oh,
especially when you camp at Lake Tinaroo. Up in the Tablelands, it's a lot cooler up in Cairns. But no, it was nice and cool. We had the kayaks hired out for the boys. So whenever they were bored, they'd just go on the kayak and go fishing or just go have fun in the kayaks. We went in the kayaks too, staff. A few staff members, one of the staff members actually lost a key in the lake for the Hilux.
Oh, damn.
For the worker?
For the worker. So one of the staff members actually, the key was in his pocket, then it fell out. and we're there all night looking. So he noticed it fell out like right before sunset. So like about 5:30.
Oh, sun almost gone.
Sun almost gone. So there we're looking around with our torches. Them kids running around everywhere looking with their torches. And then we just come to the conclusion that it fell in the lake because we scanned that whole area. So there now, another workman had to come in another vehicle.
So what happened with that car? Was there a spare key back at the
We had the
office or
spare
something?
key at a head office in Mossman, so
Okay.
we was alright with that.
Oh, there we go.
But yeah, on them camps as well, especially when we're up in the Daintree region because our base camp was up there.
Yep.
We'd just teach the boys how to make spears, take them hunting, clapsticks. They're now coolamons. Teach them how to make cup murray,
Oh.
Teach them the purpose of a cup murray and how to look after the family and elders first. But them camps were deadly. Keen to do one here in Townsville. I haven't done one yet. We're going to go up to Mangala, up on Joe's country there.
Yeah.
But
Ooh, Nawagi country.
Still waiting yet. The timing's been off and
Yep.
short-staffed and rain and everything like that. But yeah, keen to do it.
Joe, you been on a work camp?
Nah, bruh.
Has there been camp at Lighthouse?
Nah, no camp. Oh, no. They did have like a girls' camp, remember, where they took the girls over to Maggie.
Oh, yeah, then Auntie Donna did that one.
But we haven't. We should. It'd be fun.
That'd be all right.
Come in, yeah. But yeah, nah. Them camps sound deadly, though. What did you do?
Yeah, they're pretty deadly. We'd only max it out to six to 8 kids. One time that we did a mixed camp, like mixed ages. So we had the little young fellas mixing with the older fellas, and wow, it was hectic, eh? Them little fellas staring up them older fellas.
No.
Stressing them out.
Like challenging them, eh?
Yeah.
No.
The dynamics were out of whack, bro. We just had to be careful with that. Ever since that camp, we just, all right, we'll just do the young fellas together and the old fellas together. You know what them little fellas like? They're cheeky, they get smart.
Stir them up.
And the older fellas are, biting their tongue not to connect them.
Oh, no. Our camps down here, we, I don't know. Oh, well, our numbers, we get quite large, so we have probably 20 plus kids sometimes. So for this camp coming up, if all the kids that we've invited come along, it'll be 32 kids. So 16 from Sydney, 16 from Hunter Valley. And then there'll be so there's 4 of us, so 4 facilitators, as well as our manager, so there's 5 staff. But then this camp in particular, because World Vision has a close partnership with Jetstar, because they do some charity work, they raise money for World Vision. We have a few Jetstar staff coming along to that one, so we'll have some Jetstar staff and even as well some World Vision staff that's part of the funding team. So yeah, it'll be a pretty big camp if all the kids. That's why, but that's the thing. We invite 32 kids, but it could drop down to maybe 25 to less, because kids might pull out. Kids get sick. Sometimes even schools make the decision last minute to not allow the kids or their teacher to come along. But yeah, we tend to get pretty big numbers, especially that camp last year. There where Port Stephens, where Newcastle is. Yeah, pretty big numbers there. But yeah, well, thanks for sharing there, guys. Love your stories. Love listening to your voices. I mean, we'll get in. We'll keep moving on. So like I said in the intro there, we're going to yarn about a bit of mental health. With this brand, Alex and I were yarning about last week, or last episode. We spoke about what we want to do with just not just the podcast, but as well the Instagram page. Is we want to be able to ignite change as much as we can. And the thing that of course we do want to see change is how, I guess, fellas, whether you're black, white, whatever culture you come from, men don't talk about a lot of things. They tend to keep things bottled up. But with that being said, I guess I'll start because this is something that I brought to the table. But just sort of your personal stories around mental health, and maybe pinpoint a certain time where you have felt down and out. And then we'll go on then to how we got out of it, and then how do we cope with not trying to slip back down into that zone of despair, I guess you could say. But I guess myself, this was, when was this? Started 2019. So end of 2018 or mid to late 2018 was quite tough for me. I was working for the Department of Human Services. I was working at child support, and I came through in the apprenticeship program for federal government. Anyways, we were all in a team together. There was about 10 of us that started as Indigenous apprentices, so we're all a team. But then once we got to a certain level of knowledge about how to sort of take phone calls and deal with customers, they split us all up, and they put me in a team that was, I guess, in terms of average age, the average age for that team was probably 45. So it was such an older team. I was only probably 19, 20 at this point. And in that team as well, because you had all those workers that have been there for 20 plus years, or 15 plus years, a lot of them started to turn into good ways robots on the phone. And instead of yarning up with customers, they were quick to the point, straight, just trying to get the money, for the families that needed the money. Anyways, basically they try to sort of change me into trying to be that sort of robot where, like, my phone calls when I first started was like, hey, how you doing? Just want to let you know, I'm calling from child support, da, da, da. But I'd have a bit of a yarn trying, because we were told as well that because child support sometimes is a stressor for some individuals, especially fathers, I didn't want to come across as someone that'll cut conversation shorter. I really don't care about you. I just want this money. So I came into it quite positive. I was like, hey, how you doing? Same thing again. But then one of the seniors sat on one of my phone calls. She connected in, and then basically she criticized everything that I did. Basically told me, look, this is what we do here. You have to meet this, otherwise you probably won't last long, basically. So then, for those couple of months, I tried to be that guy that'll just get on the phone call, cut the conversation short, get to the point, and then just cut it there. But then it didn't work at the same time, because it was basically, they were telling me to not be myself as well at work. And it was like, well, I can't do that, even though I should, because it's something that pays the bills. It's something that I work towards. But that was the biggest thing, where I was struggling between, of course, wanting to continue to work for a great department and try to hold on to that government job, but as well as I was still thinking like, okay, well, I don't want to be, because we are a stressor to some people. And that's the thing too. One of the phone calls that I took with one of the customers, they did threaten good ways to commit after the phone call had ended. So, and you get trained up in how to deal with those sorts of things. But, that was the first call that I had whilst being in that team. And, that basically that whole night after that day of work, I couldn't get to sleep, because my thought process, how was that fella doing? And hopefully he's still here tomorrow. Like, there was all these different things that would run through my head. And then, like, you have the debrief, you have those little conversations that you have. But so, yeah. Anyway, so end of 2018, ended up finishing. I do have my Cert 4. I ended up finishing the qualification. But then, because I was still part of that team, I, that mindset of, okay, well, I can't really perform up to the standard of this team. Maybe they'll allow me to get transferred somewhere else. Wasn't part of the conversation, of course. They said, look, if you don't perform, you won't be able to get transferred, right? So then had to leave that job in a very dark time. And then, I was out of a job there for about a month and a half. My uncle, he ended up giving me a job sort of going out west to Mount Isa, Juliet Creek, Richmond, all those areas, Hewenden. And it was just part of that Containers for Change, where you just go out and people bring in their containers and you bring out the money. So I was doing that for, I did that for about a week. I was out that ways. But then I came back to Townsville and, the way I applied for Lighthouse at the time, end of 2018, News Mob just started. And yeah, but they never got back to me in time, and I was just feeling down and out because I didn't have a job. And that's the thing too. I came from a family of public servants, and that was something that pressure that was added on me was, once you get a government job, you do everything to try hold on to it because it's the most secure job you can have is a government job. But then that pressure was I didn't hold on to it, so I was like, okay, what does my family think about me? But then with my last paycheck, I ended up buying a one-way ticket to Newcastle. And then, because at the same time I was yarning to Bala Wil, telling them about how I was. And, like I said, I was in a bit of a rut. Didn't know what I wanted to do. At this time, I only had the Cert 4 in government. So I really didn't have sort of community services qualifications. I had my business admin qualification. But sort of Bala Wil and I were yarning, and he sort of said, hey, just come down, get out of Townsville. And this was, I think he just recently moved down there. Like it was about a year or 2 years in that he was down there. So he sort of understood where I was coming from as well. So ended up buying that ticket, flying down. That was around probably October, November. And then, I was just sort of chilling out down there, resetting. Come December, I ended up getting a job doing door-to-door salesman. So I was part of this marketing company, and the thing that we were selling to like residents in Newcastle was energy, changing your energy provider over to. At the time, there was a new company that sponsored the Australian cricket team, Alinta Energy, and we were basically going door to door and trying to sell this energy provider to be cheaper and trying to get people to change over. But the company that I did work for was 100% commission. So if you didn't sell, you didn't eat, basically. So, someone, being part of that company, it was a small company there in Newcastle. But then all that team, they were all experienced in sales. They started in sales quite early and they worked up to it. And then, what do you call it? I couldn't sell. Same thing again. When you get into sales, it's all about getting the sale. That's part of the job. It's in the name, right? But I couldn't get it. Like I could yarn up and talk to these people, but I couldn't sell. That's one thing. I can yarn up, I can talk until the sun goes down, but I couldn't sell anything. And that was where the money wasn't coming in. So, that move to Newcastle, I ended up spending Christmas and New Year's there. But then didn't work out. Moved back to Townsville. And 2019, I ended up getting a job with TARS at the bail house as just the admin officer. And then sort of 2019 was when I started working for Lighthouse for a couple of years there. But in terms of where I was as well at, sort of end of 2018, 2019, I was in that mindset where I didn't really have enough experience to go get the jobs I wanted. So I had to settle for the jobs that I could only get, I guess. And as well as the pressure from my family, pressure from just trying to get some money in and do all these different things. I was quite down where there was one night, this was started 2019 now. There was one night that I had a disagreement with a family member. And I ended up walking because I was in the car with them. And then we had a disagreement, little argument. I got out of the car. Mind you, this was, Kerwin Primary School there with Burnder Street. That little side, I think it's Lamond Avenue. It's on the side there. I got out of the car there. This was after work too, so I was still in my little dress shoes, dress pants, button-up shirt. I walked from there to Townsville General Hospital. So, and that's that's pretty far away if you know Townsville. But during that journey, I ended up stopping at the footbridge where the ring road. So that little footbridge where people can walk underneath. And like there, I was sort of on the railing. The thought process was, like there, the pressure. Everything wasn't working out for me. I lost a few jobs. The move away didn't work. Everything was basically just yuck. I just didn't feel as though I belonged anywhere. So I was at the railing for my phone died too, so I couldn't call anyone. So this was the moment where I was like, okay, well, if I were to do it, they'll find me, maybe floating down the river, or, maybe they'll find me, somewhere at the footbridge, where those big cinder blocks are. But yeah, it was, I was there for about 5-10 minutes where I was just thinking, no one else was around. There was usually people walking, but no one was there. And then I just stopped and, like there, I wanted to jump. I wanted to just end it all because I didn't think that there was going to be anything for me the next day. And then ended up continue to walk, there from the footbridge. Then I walked to the hospital. Got to the hospital and I was yarning to the ladies at the front desk yarned to them, and they brought in a mental health specialist or like a psychologist, and she was yarning to me. And then we were yarning up, and then a lot of the things stem from, I guess, as much as I really didn't need him growing up, but the absence of my dad has stemmed a lot of the issues, I guess, that I do face sometimes. Just being able to grow up without him. I had father figures, with my mum's oldest brother. I looked after my grandfather. In the last couple of years he was alive. But in terms of, and for those that are listening, that sort of come from a similar way where you did grow up in a single parent household, as much as you could grow up to be successful without both parents in the household, it does have those sort of lasting effects where you do question yourself sometimes. Especially myself. I've had a lot of friends where I'd go over do sleepovers, or I'd go over for certain events like a birthday and see that they have both parents in their life and how happy they are. It was definitely not much of a struggle now. But like I said, they still have their lasting effects. It's slowly growing away, but I don't think it's going to go away fully. That mindset of, I always think about, I'm rambling on now, I'll pass it on, but I think about that Fresh Prince of Bel-Air scene with when Will Smith's dad come back in the picture, and then he ends up going again, and and then that scene ends with, why doesn't he want me? Like all that. I not that I like to watch that because it is quite triggering. But it does resonate with me where it's like, that thought of not having both parents in my life, it does run through my head a lot. And like I said, I haven't said this, but Deb and I, we might look at starting a family at the end of the year. And those things are in my mind. It's like, I don't want to be that dad. I don't want to be that father that sort of just births, that lays down to have a kid but don't look after him. That's why as well I like to work with kids too, because sometimes the kids that I work with might have the similar story as well, and sort of fill in that gap of being that father figure for some of the kids that I've worked with over the years. But yeah, in terms of how did I get out of that and how do I still continue to cope with it, is basically all it is for me is because I was single for so long. I believe that isolation can play a role in sort of working through a lot of things, like being by yourself, sort of allowing yourself to stop and think, but as well be in your own space. Don't be dependent too much on other people's company. Because that's the thing, you don't know what other people are going through, so you don't know if they can carry the burden of you as well. So isolation, I tend to do a lot things a lot by myself. Now that I have a partner that I live with, it's not that it's difficult for me to find that isolation, but if she does feel if I'm having a bad day, she does give me that space to, go do my own thing, whether it's go to the movies, go for a walk. I'll just let her know that, hey, look, I just sort of want to be by myself. But then after that isolation, I guess that isolation feeling has ended. Usually I get back into, hanging out with my partner. Like we would go to the movies together, we'd go out, get something to eat, maybe just go do late night shopping and just be around a lot of people. And I guess myself as well, one of those biggest things that sort of work for me is just moving away out of Townsville whilst being quite young. Um, you know, when you live in Townsville long enough, or, always live in North Queensland long enough, you're going to run out of things to do. So moving away and moving to a place where, that curiosity of what else is out there in the world is being met. As humans, we are naturally curious and trying to figure out different places and different things and exploring new places that, I've never been before. Yeah. And I think that's what's allowed me to sort of keep on top of it, is being able to move out of Townsville, because same thing again, sort of 2022, I was back in the same rut. Like I could feel myself getting back into the rut. I was back in 2018, 2019. So then the next thing was, okay, where to move to next. So it was going to be Cairns. The three biggest ones was Cairns, Darwin, and Gosford. Deb, however, doesn't like the heat, so Darwin was out of the equation. And then as well as Cairns, Deb and I actually had a yarn, and we were like, Cairns is actually quite similar to Townsville, and we, there was the thing is like, well, would the things go away if we were to move just Goodways just up the road? Would I get better moving just to Cairns? So then once we made that conversation, we were like, okay, well, let's go accept this job in Gosford, and we'll just go. We'll pack the car up and we'll go. We sold a lot of things. All we came down with was, when we first come down, was air mattress, some bed linen, towels, and most of our clothes. And yeah, like looking back now, tell you, it's been a journey. It's been quite a journey, and it's yeah. But yeah, that's my little, not little, but that's my story. Thanks for listening. But does anyone else want to take over before I keep on going? Who wants to go next?
Thanks for opening up on that, Will. You should be proud of how far you've come and where you are now. But same thing, similar situation with my mental health. I ended up leaving Townsville in 2014. Same thing, I wasn't finding any work. I was in and out of jobs, labouring jobs, so doing a bit of scaffolding, doing a bit of concreting, a bit of roofing. I've done everything you can do in labouring. Before I left Townsville, I was just working at the Townsville Golf Club in Rosslea, just doing a little bit of bar work there. And then, I don't know, my sister come down from Cairns for one Christmas. And then I just ended up going back to Cairns with her. So my sister lived in Cairns with her family. I was doing nothing in Townsville at the time. I was just getting into a lot of trouble as well. Going out into town and causing ruckus and being a little idiot. So I just thought, I'll just go to Cairns and see what it's like. I only had plans to go up there for a year. Moved up there in 2014 and only come back last year in 2023. So I was up there for about 9 years. So done a good stint up there. So yeah, that's how my mental health was in Townsville before I left it. It was just all over the place, thinking I was worthless because I couldn't find a job and no one wanted to hire me. So yeah, just ended up going to Cairns. And then when I was in Cairns, I found a job working out on the Great Barrier Reef, being a Crown of Thorns cotch diver. So the Crown of Thorns starfish, we were just out culling them because they were obviously killing the reef. And I was on that job from 2016 to 2020 when I got off the boats. during my period out there working on the water, lost a lot of mates through suicide, lost family through general causes of health. So there was funerals that I was missing out on. Missed out on a lot of birthdays, weddings, etc. So then that started to take its toll on me as well, because we were out there living for 10 days out on the water. So we go out every Tuesday, come back on the following Thursday. So 10 days out at sea and 4 days at home. And it would just go too quick. And a lot of the bad things that were happening in my life tend to be when I was out at sea. So I couldn't be there for my family or friends, and that's the thing too. I was living in Cairns. I was born and bred in Townsville, raised in Townsville. So a lot of my mates that were doing suicide, they were here in Townsville. And I'm just sitting out on the water wherever we had reception, going on to Facebook and Instagram and seeing posts of all my other schoolmates out at funerals saying goodbye to our mate. Our mates that have done silly things. But yeah, it was starting to take its toll on me. In 2020, before I got off, I think that pressure as well of just being away for too long, and that job it was because I was in a team leader supervisor role out there as well, so I was looking after a team of divers, reporting to Gabrumpa, making sure that everything was up to scratch, just bouncing back and forth from a team leader to a supervisor role. So that was a lot of pressure in itself. And you're managing a team of divers to make sure that they're looking after their health as well. And I don't know if anyone's been diving, free diving or scuba diving, it's a risky job in itself. You got to make sure your team members are looking after themselves, and shallow water blackouts a thing that could happen out there. And you're constantly just looking over your team members, make sure that they're good, make sure that they're doing their part to make sure that they don't pass out. But there were times out there on the boat where I just sit up late at night, out on the back deck. Everyone else will be asleep, just chilling. Middle of the night, could be 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night. I'll just be sitting up on the back deck, just watching the water. And being on a dive boat, there were weights. There were times where I thought about weighting myself and just jumping off. There's been incidences like that in Cairns where people have jumped off boats just because they can't handle the pressure. But yeah, working on a dive boat, I did have weights nearby, where I can just load myself up with weights and just jump in the ocean. Just because it was starting to become too much. I think what was hurt me the most was all those suicides of my mates. It was ridiculous. Like in Townsville, for a period of time in Townsville, there were a lot of young people doing suicide. And a lot of those people were people that we went to school with and we knew. And then, so coming into 2020, I just started to lose my love for working out on the water. Don't get me wrong, it was a daily job, it was the best job in the world. You're waking up at 7 o'clock in the morning and going diving out on the reef. People pay to do that, and I was actually getting paid to do that job. But yeah, it was just starting to become too much. So then I got off the boats and started working in youth work, which is what I'm still doing now. Running an on-country program in Cairns. So I was doing that from 2020 to still doing the youth work now. And then in 2023, same thing. I was coming back and forth from Townsville to Cairns. And just that feeling of being around my mates in Townsville, I come back for Brother Joe's wedding. And that period of time there, I was down in Townsville for 2 to 3 weeks. I just put in leave for that time. And then going back to Cairns, I just got homesick. And I was just at that point where I was going to work in Cairns and I was just stagnant. Physically I was at work, but mentally I wasn't. And then I was just missing home. Sure enough, told a mob on our group chats that, look, I'm coming back to town. No one believed me. No one believed me because they were surprised at how quickly I found a job. So just talking about it and actually looking, found a job within 2 weeks, and now I'm back in Townsville. But ever since I've been back in Townsville, my mental has been clear, clean, training with the boys every day, hanging out with mates, doing the things that I missed out on in Cairns with my mates. And I think that's what played a part with my mental health in Cairns, was not having friends up there. fair enough, I have my workmates and some family members, but it's different to having people that you've grown up with and you got a different bond with your mates compared to family members. So I think that was also the thing that really hurt the most, which is why last year when I started feeling homesick, I just had to bite the bullet and come back to Townsville. And honestly, I think I come back to Townsville a better man, more mature. I grounded myself and reset fresh. And yeah, now I'm just keen to see what I can do for the rest of the year and during my time here in Townsville again. But we'll see how long I last in Townsville this time. You know, when you grow up in your hometown, you do get sick of the place pretty easily. But at the end of the day, it's home for me. And now I'm back here.
Mm.
But yeah, that's
That's
my
it.
little stints of mental health and the thoughts I've had during them periods, dark times. The good thing about it was I was talking to my supervisor and my skipper on the boat about it a lot before I got off. I actually sat down with my team members on the boat and told them, you know, that this is what I'm going through. I'm about to finish my time up on the boat. But being strong enough to do that as well is something you should be proud of. Speaking about it to people.
Yeah.
Because when I told my teammates on the boat that I was going to get off, like, because we at the end of every trip we do a team briefing on how the 10 days went, where we need to improve, and then that's when I told them. So all eyes were just on me. A team of 12 were just staring at me, and I'm here bawling my eyes out, you know, telling them that I'm stuck in a dark place and I had to get off. But honestly, once you get it off your chest, it's the best feeling in the world. Well, that's mine, but
Thanks for sharing.
yeah.
Both.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. You seem a lot happier since you've been back here. You can tell in your body language and everything, bro. Like even your training, just killing it. Yeah, no, like I haven't really had like much happen like that over the years, but like just like working shift work and stuff like that. Like when my boy was born, so like he'd go to daycare and I'd be at home, and then when I go to work, actually he would be at daycare. So when I'd go home, when I'd go to work, he'd be going to home. So I'd miss them I would have seen him for the whole day, and like I'd just be thinking like I've been doing youth work here at TARS for 7 years. This will be my 7th year at TARS Lighthouse, and like still to this day, like he's a lot bigger now, and he's just like, "Oh, Dad, can you just come home?" Or "Dad, don't go to work." He just wants me to stay home, and you know, and that
Yeah.
kills me, right, in the back of my head. And like even when I'm at work, like I'll do my work and stuff, but in the back of my head, I'm just thinking, you know, and get small depressed and stuff at work, and then I'm just like, you know, I got to make a change, and that's why like on my days off, I just try and do a lot of stuff with him, like go fishing, go kick the footy around and stuff like that. And like, you know, to for me to like cope with that stuff, like I got to go training, like I got to be around like the boys and train and that, like it helps me clear my mind. And then even fishing, man, like even just sitting there, I like to take him fishing as well. But like, yeah, like don't get me wrong, like I've had those thoughts too about, you know, just, you know, even like, you know, losing good mates and stuff, you know, you can still get depressed about that as well. And yeah, no, I've had those thoughts, but then I just play on it, and I'm just like, nah, you know, it comes back every now and then, but then it goes away for a good while, and then like something will happen, and then them thoughts will come back. But then like there's ways of coping with it. But like you said, talking to someone, I mean, I'm one of those persons that have bottled it up. Even my wife, she's like, you need to talk to someone, like just open up to me, you know. And I'm one of those. I'm not really like a hard person, but I can just bottle stuff up. But yeah, I've learned to just, even if it's just a little bit, just let it out a little bit, slowly. Then you eventually get it all out. But yeah, that's my kind of mental stuff, eh?
Yeah. That's what some of the kids that I work with down here, because like we cover a lot of themes, and one of the themes we cover is health, and that's what we covered a lot last week with some of the schools. And yeah, the biggest thing, of course, was talking about mental health and how that helps. But that's what don't go out and overshare. There's always space where you do talk about things, but there's always time to just keep things to yourself. And the analogy I use with them kids is like, good ways, think of yourself as a balloon. If you give too much air to a balloon, sooner or later, thing gonna pop, right? But there, like you said, every now and again, you don't have to let out a lot of air, but every now and again, just give yourself that release where you're not gonna explode. But definitely.
I think with the field of work that we all do as well, us three boys, because we all work with you, and especially me and Jay. I'm not too sure about the kids you work with, Will, but the kids we work with are high risk.
Mm-hmm.
So they're coming from backgrounds as well where they're affected. Their mental health could be worse, So that's where it's important as well to, if you are feeling mentally down, to have a bit of time off work, because you want to be mentally best you can be for those kids as well, because at the end of the day, you don't want to go to work slouching, and because the kids will just pick up on it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, the kids I work with, they're school kids. So like that, in terms of those breaks that I have, school holidays, we still work during school holidays, but, we do that. We usually save school holidays for training or like a debrief of how the term went. But one of the schools that I do work in, it's similar to ways like Thuringowa, where a lot of the kids there, they all come from like low socioeconomic families. They all come from sort of backgrounds where they didn't grow up with, privilege and wealth. And then when I go into those schools, when I go into that school specifically, it reminds me of good ways there my time at Thuringowa, because I went to Gower, but as well as when I was in Canberra, the school I went to in Canberra was also like that. So that was one of the things when I do go into these schools, I sort of then pull things, okay, well, how do I work with these kids? Basically how I used to yarn with my peers going to them sort of schools, and sort of drawing from my experience going to them, I guess you could say smaller schools, because they're the school I went to in Canberra as well. It wasn't the largest school in Canberra. It was one of the smaller schools. And just sort of drawing my experience from growing up, going to them smaller schools with the kids that I work with now. But yeah, like in terms of all them, they're not high risk kids. However, there'll be one or two in each group where they're sort of that medium risk. I mean, they're still going to school, but you can tell by how they go in the sessions and some of the stories they tell, you can tell that they're on that, possibly if something does go wrong, they could be high risk straight away. They're at risk of becoming those young people. But yeah. Anything else you'd like? But thanks for sharing there, Brother Joe. Thanks for sharing, Bala Alex.
Good to hear them stories as well. You don't know that about people that you're close with.
Yeah.
It's good to hear it.
Yeah. That's the thing too there, just to the listeners is, this is what this podcast is all about. We like to have a bit of fun. We like to talk silly ways sometimes, but, in the times where things need to be serious, don't take life too seriously, because it's not going to work out like that. So try to find time in your day, and whether it's in your day or in your week, to go out, hang out with your mates, or hang out with someone that is going to make you laugh, or go watch a movie that's funny. And that was one thing too that sort of helped me cope with, just going back on it before we move on, is on my nights off when I used to do the night shift work, I used to go catch movies. I was single at the time, so my thing is I'd go to the movies, buy popcorn enough for myself, get a drink, Maltese, and I'll just go watch the latest movies, and just because movies were I still love movies now. But I remember going to the movies, and that's the thing, because I was in that, that night owl, that body clock was off. I'd go catch the latest movie, so I'd go catch like a 9:30 movie. I'd be home by like midnight, because the next day I wouldn't be doing anything for the whole day. I'd have work at 5 in the afternoon. Yeah, but with all that being said, Of course, if you are struggling with your mental health or, sort of struggling with anything in life, you can always call up, the helpline, 13 Yarn. There's all tons of support out there for you. Even as at work, I know most companies now, they do offer employee assistance programs where you do talk to a therapist if you access those programs or those services as well. But always reach out if you're struggling. Of course, if you can't reach out to someone close to you, these people that you will yarn to on these helplines, they're all just strangers, and maybe sometimes it's always good to open up to a stranger over the phone where you know it's going to be a judgment-free zone because that's what they do, But the numbers are going to be here. Yeah. We'll add those in, but they're going to be here. But yeah, call those lines if you're ever struggling with your mental health and you sort of have no one to reach out to. Call those ones up. And as well as there's a link in the Instagram page, Brother to Brother. I'm pretty sure that's just a men's helpline as well. In our Instagram page, if you click on one of the links, there's the Marn Time link to our YouTube channel. But then one of the other links in our page is also Brother to Brother, which is another helpline, I think, just for men. But yeah, thank you for sharing. Thank you for listening. But if you have nothing else to add, is there anything from you guys?
Nothing from me. Keen to
Yeah.
keep chipping away.
Yeah, keep chipping away. But yeah, keep chip and chase. Tray full of enamel. Yeah. All right. So we're moving on to our we're moving on to our fun side of the podcast. And yeah, like we said last week, this is going to be called Soooo. And of course, if you didn't listen to the podcast last week, Soooo is a term that us ballas use in the gym chat or the gaming chat, because some of us boys still play a bit of Fortnite and a few other games. But whenever a balla enters Soooo in the group chat, it usually means they want to squat up, they want to yarn about something, or you want to organise a time to go to the gym together. So we brought that over to this podcast just to give that trigger as to what we're doing now, which is we're going to have a bit of fun. All right. So, boys, this little trivia, this little NRL trivia, I've been very vague with the details, okay? But what I want you to do first on your pieces of paper there and your pens, do you want hard, medium, or easy?
I don't
Do
know.
you want it hard? Yeah.
Like, you never gave us much insight to what we're doing. You just said get your thinking caps on. So.
Get your thinking caps on.
Yeah.
Alex wants it hard. I'll go medium.
Know what? We'll go medium.
Yeah, we'll go medium.
We'll go medium. All right. Write 1 to 7 on your papers.
1 to 7.
1 to 7. And then at the top of yours, Alex, you write Darren Lockyer at the top of yours. And then, of course, Joe, you write Greg Inglis. So before we recorded, I asked these boys last night who their favourite player was growing up or watching footy. So Joe gave me Greg Inglis and Alex gave me Darren Lockyer. Okay.
Yep.
So I'm going to pitch you two up against each other. Okay. Now, this is the trivia today. This is the trivia today. You are going to name the top 7. What's that? Hey, Bible, eh?
I need something to lean on there.
So what I want you to do, you are going to name the top 7 players that your favorite players played with in NRL games. Okay, but it's not. I'm just not going to leave you to do it and write down. What I'm going to do is you're going to do rock, paper, scissors to see who goes first. All right, so do rock, paper, scissors. See who wins.
Scissors, paper, rock.
Keep going. Oh, were you paper? Okay.
No, we were scissors.
We
All right.
We scissored there for the first
All
time.
right. So Joe goes first. So how this game is going to work is Joe's going to try and name the top 7 players that Greg Inglis played with, like the most games he played with, the top 7 teammates he had. When you get one wrong, I'm going to pass it over to Alex and he'll have a chance to name his 7. So the first to get all 7 wins, right?
Okay, yep. So Joe's got to try and get to 7 as quickly as he can, wherever he stops, and then I get my turn. And then if I get to like 4, he takes back over.
But here,
It's a race.
Is it gonna be like Queensland or like just like
players?
NRL games. NRL games. This is all just regular season, no finals, just regular season games. No Origin games, no just NRL regular season.
So no Queensland, nothing.
So no Queensland, no Australia.
No representative games. It's just strictly NRL games. Who they played with the most in the regular season.
Oh, okay.
Easy.
Yeah. All right. So, and I because I have the names here, I'll confirm. And that's the thing. You say the name out loud, and I'll confirm if you have it or not. But the reason why I asked you to write 1 through 7 is so you can keep track of the ones you have.
Oh,
okay. Right. So it's not like a test where you're going to write the names down and I'll have to confirm it. Basically, you just yell out the name, and then I'll say yes or no. Yeah? All right, so Joe was Greg Inglis. Sorry to the listeners if this seems, this is sort of the first time we're trying this, so bear with us. All right, so Joe, who's your first name that you want to sort of confirm as to who Greg Inglis played with the most?
With the most? Oh, okay.
They're top 7 players, yeah.
Club games, right?
Just club games, regular season.
Alex Johnson? Surely.
Alex Johnson is not on the list.
So my turn.
Go on.
Yeah, so your turn.
Go on, Ski. So you got to remember too, he was at Rabbitohs and Storm.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was thinking about.
So what? My turn now.
Yeah, your turn, but let me just say, Alex Johnson isn't even in the top 10, Joe, for Greg Inglis teammates. Yeah. Yes. All right, Alex, your turn.
That was silly.
Shane Webke.
Shane Webke is number 1, so write him down. So Shane Webke
is on the list.
Shane Webke is on the list.
All right.
He and Darren Lockyer played together for 229 games, so he's number 1.
Far out.
Okay.
Number 2.
You don't have to go in order. Well, I'll just
Petro.
sort of confirm whether they're in the top 7 or not. Petro is Petro Sevenasiva. He's on the list.
Killing it.
You got it correct.
Gee,
so he's number 4.
Yep.
They played together for 185 games. Yep.
Wendell Saylor.
Wendell Saylor is in the top 10, but he's not in your 7. So unfortunately, that's wrong.
All right then.
So back to Joe.
Over to Joe.
Sam Burgess. Because I know he's at Rabbitohs.
Sam Burgess is number 9. He's not in your 7. So you're wrong. Go back to Alex.
All right. I said Webke. I've said Petro.
Thank you.
I'm going to say Carmichael Hunt.
Carmichael Hunt is not on the list, unfortunately. He's a few names down. I think he's like 15 or something.
So these are players
back to Joe.
So these are players that these 2 particular players have enjoyed playing with, like their favourite players, or they've played the most games with?
They played the most games with. Individually. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. No, got it.
Back to Joe.
Isaac Luke? I don't know. I'm just going from Rabbitohs.
Isaac Luke is not on the list, unfortunately. I'd say he'd be about 15 or 16 as well. So back to Alex.
All right. I'm going to go with Sean Berrigan.
Sean Berrigan is on the list. He's at number 5.
All right.
So Lockyer and Sean Berrigan played together for a total of 166 games.
That's a fair few.
Jeez.
After Berrigan, I'm going to go with Tony Carroll.
Tony Carroll is on the list at number 3.
Woo.
Carroll and Lockyer played together for a total of 188 games.
After Carroll, I'm going to have to go with far out.
Should be an easier person.
Nah, I'm going to go with Kevin Walters.
Kevin Walters is not in the top 10 or top 7, so
Oh,
that's
yeah.
wrong. Back to Joe. Joe, you haven't had one yet?
I know, bro. I'm just going to stay with Rabbitohs here.
Yeah, go.
Reynolds?
Adam Reynolds is number 3. He's on your list.
You got one. You got one.
Adam Reynolds and Greg Inglis played together for a total of 111 games.
All right.
So you sort of got an area now.
Yeah. What's his name? Used to play on the wing. Nathan Merritt? No.
Nathan Merritt is not on the list, unfortunately, Joe. Sorry,
Ah,
mate.
well.
Back to Alex. Alex,
How'd
you
it
have
go?
3
How'd
more
it go?
names on your list.
Got one.
I've got Webke, Petro, Berrigan, and Carroll. Now I'm going to go with Justin Hodges.
Justin Hodges is not in your top 7.
Hey, sorry, what?
Back to
Okay.
Joe. Back to
We gotta
Joe.
come back to what get some balls there. Who's back rubber? Roy Asatasi?
Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
Roy Asatasi is not on the list. Sorry.
You're an idiot.
Sorry, Joe.
All right.
Back to Alex. Back to Alex.
What about Dane Carlo?
Dane Carlo is number 7. He's on your list.
He's on the list. All right.
So you have 2 more.
2 more. What about Kevin Campion?
Kevin Campion is not on your list, unfortunately. Joe, back to you.
We go Storms. Billy Slater?
Billy Slater is number 8. He's just off your list. So sorry, that does not count.
All right. I only got 2 more to go here. What about Gordon Tallis?
Gordon Tallis is number 8 as well, so he's just off your list.
Cameron Smith.
Wait, Joe, just because you're behind by a lot, if you ask me a hint, I'll give you a hint on one of your players. You just tell me what number. Like, so you have Adam Reynolds at number 3. So you can either have the hint on 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, or 7.
Yeah, we go 4, 5, 6, 7.
Which one?
We'll go 4.
Number 4. The number 4 player. He's played the most games in NRL history.
Cameron Smith. No, who's that?
Correct.
Oh, I'm thinking, I'm sure I got that wrong. Right, you put him on my
Cameron
number 1.
Smith. Cameron Smith is on your list. He played with Greg Inglis a total of 108 times. All right, you go again, Joe. That's your hint there for this round.
Yeah. Okay. Cooper Cronk, is he in there?
Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
Cooper Cronk is number 2 on your list.
He's on fire. Put him out.
Him and Inglis played together for 112 times at the NRL level. So you still have 1, 5, 6, and 7.
What's that little fuck?
Chrissy Sandow is not on your list,
No.
unfortunately. No, not on there. Back to Alex.
All right, 2 more to go.
So
Let's
Alex,
submit it.
you need number 2 and number 6. That's your rankings.
Number 2 and number 6.
Yep.
All right. So who's played the second most amount of games with Lockyer? Right, I'm trying to look at Will here to see if he can give me anything here.
Look into his eyes, then.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
looking straight into his eyes. Far out, Wilfred. What are you doing to us? Scotty
What?
Minto.
Scotty Minto is not on the list, unfortunately.
The GOAT.
Back to Joe.
Ron Hoffman.
Ryan Hoffman?
Ryan Hoffman is on your list. He's number 7.
Offie. Yay.
So you need what? You need number 1 still, and then 5 and 6.
Jesus. Who's the wingers? Bro, I don't know. I don't know.
You have to win.
Pass. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you want to pass? We can pass over. Pass. All right. Over to you, Alex.
So if Webkey's number 1, it's got to be in that era. Because this one's number 2. Number 2, Lockyer, Webkey, and
See, told you get your thinking caps on, eh, boys?
now you could have gave us an idea. Could have prepped for this, you know.
I was researching where they're from, when they debuted. Doing that one.
Wow. Yeah, man. I've got 2 more to go as well.
Would you like a hint on one of them?
Yes, please.
Which one, number 2 player or number 6 player?
Number 2 player.
Number 2 player? What's the thing here? He was a goal kicker.
Michael De Vere.
Michael De Vere is number 9. So he's off your list.
Who's a kicker?
You cheating me, eh, Will?
No, I'm not. I gave you a hint. He was a goal kicker. Back to you, Joe.
Pass. Not give. Give. I don't think he was.
Good way. I'll just have to admit, Joe, I think you probably chose one of the harder players.
Yeah. Well, in this,
Because there's 2 names here where you're like, oh, fuck.
And 2 clubs as well. So you got to think about how much time he spent at both of those clubs.
I'm saying Rabbitohs because
But looking at that trend, I think there's something going there.
We'll chuck one out there. Who's that son? What's his name? I can't remember his name. Black fella. He played for Queensland.
Yeah.
No. Black fella. I thought it was
Nielsen.
Oh, I know you're talking about. Yeah, he just said Dan Nielsen.
Yeah.
Dane Nielsen. Is that your final answer?
Look at him, look.
Yeah, pass. Not you.
No, Dane Nielsen. Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
He's not on your list, unfortunately, Joe. Sorry.
All right, back to the goal kicker. Whoever this goal kicker is. Far out. Mustn't be that deadly of a goal kicker. I can't even think of him.
He was all right.
He played for Broncos.
Yes.
Kicker.
Only kicker I can think of is Michael De Vere and Lockyer.
It's him, Lockyer. Now give us
Yeah, fuck that. He played with himself more.
Can I get another hint, bro?
I don't know. I only got one.
On which one?
On that.
Well,
number
you didn't
2?
ask for another one, Joe. I could give you another one.
On the number 2 fella?
On the number 2, he was a lock forward.
Corey Parker.
Corey Parker is number 2 on your list. Corey Parker and Lockyer played together for a total of 191 games.
All right, I got one more, then game over.
Yeah, number 6.
Game done.
Wins.
All right.
I'll give you a hint further down if you can't figure it out.
Ashley Harrison.
Ashley Harrison is not on the list. Sorry. All right, Joe, back to you.
Yeah.
Would you like a hint on any of your players?
Yeah, since you give him a hint, give me a hint, please.
What player would you want the hint on? 1, 5, or 6?
We'll go 1.
Number 1. During Greg Inglis's time at the Rabbitohs, he mostly played 6.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Luke. Is it Luke Keary? No.
No.
No, he was 6 then.
You said at the Rabbitohs, eh?
Keary. I'm sure. Yeah. No. Just put him in. I don't know.
Luke Keary? Luke Keary is not on the list. Sorry.
Who was that? Who was that? Who was in the Hearts? Reynolds and... Bro, I can't remember.
Back to Alex. While we let Joe think about it.
Yeah. The last player is it the other Berrigan brother? Barry Berrigan.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah, lock it in, Eddie.
He is not on the list. Sorry.
Oh, bro, you know who I want up? He's a bra boy or whatever his name is.
Yeah, that's that 5'8". He played a bit in the forwards too, eh?
Can't even remember his name.
Yeah,
He used to run water for
Yeah,
South too,
that's
eh?
the fellow I'm talking about. What's his name though?
They start with
Yeah. His name rhymes with
Wilfred. Yeah. No.
Wow.
Just pass while I think of that name. I know. I got the picture of him. Mate.
pass. He can't think
Try
of
to
the name.
think of the name. Pass.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh well, I know. Finish this game before he thinks of that name. It is. Would Darius Boyd be on this list?
Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
He is not on the list. Sorry, mate.
He's old.
I can't remember the name.
Did you want a hint on maybe on one of the other players?
Yeah, go then.
Which one? 5 or 6?
5.
This fella would only be described as maybe, especially during these modern Rabbitohs times, is someone of like Mitch Orbison type build. You could chuck him in the forward, you could chuck him on the edge. You could chuck him anywhere, really. Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
That's like
Chris McQueen is not on the list. Good guess, though.
A pretty good answer, though.
Chris McQueen was he's number 11, so he's a couple of spots down. Back to you, Alex. Would you like your final hint on this player?
Yeah,
or
yes,
no?
please.
It's up to Joe. It's up to Joe. Should I give him his final?
He said, "Give it to me." So,
Give it to him and the hint.
So this hint is gonna probably just end the game right now.
Yep. Do it.
If I guess it, I win.
The
No, yeah.
hint is this player was an All Black.
Brad Thorne.
That's him. Is that it?
Brad Thorne is on the list. And your final answer.
Lock it in.
There we go.
Brad Thorne.
So Brad Thorne and Lockyer played together for a total of 159 games.
I should have said Billy Slater.
All right, so back over to Joe.
I don't even worry.
We'll go from 6. We'll go 6 to 1. So number 6.
Can I try to help him?
Yeah.
Yeah, go.
I'm gonna
So
go with
number 6.
John
Oh
Sutton.
yeah, go. Say the name.
Sutton.
John Sutton is number 1. Yes.
Dirty
What else did he have
All
left
right.
there?
5 and 6.
5 and 6 is all he had left.
Yep.
I'm gonna go with.
So remember,
Can you
like I
give me a
said,
bit-
for number 5.
Because we're not playing now, we're just trying to guess his last numbers.
But
Did he,
want a hint.
did he play for Rabbitohs or Storm?
So both these players are Rabbitohs players.
They're a couple. So
Both of these players are Rabbitohs players.
Yeah, both forwards.
Dave Taylor.
Close. Dave Tyrrell.
Tyrrell, that's
David
it.
Tyrrell.
Smack.
Yep.
It was a David, so that counts.
So David Tyrrell was number 6, and number 5, the one that I gave you the head where you could chuck him anywhere, Jason Clark,
Hey, I didn't
the
remember
little
that.
blondie.
Yeah, no one
You
remembers
don't remember him?
No.
Yeah.
Well,
Unless you're a Rabbitoh supporter. No one remembers them people.
Yeah, true, mate. All right. Well,
Okay.
that's your list there, Joe. It was John Sutton, number 1, Cronk, Reynolds, Smith, Jason Clark, Tyrrell, Ryan Hoffman.
Wow.
And then Alex for Darren Lockyer, Webkey, Parker, Carroll, Seven Asiva, Berrigan, Thorne, Carlaw. There we go, guys.
That late
Congratulations
90s,
to Alex.
2000s era.
Yeah.
Just like to give you congratulations to Alex for winning that one. Joe, give him a kiss.
Yeah, you can.
Ain't that it?
Nah, you got to twerk for me, Will. That's what I want.
Hey, gee.
Seeing as I won, you got to twerk. Go.
My back. My back. Almost threw it out
Yeah,
then.
maybe my
You
walking
go.
and thank you.
Far out. No comment. But yeah, so that brings the game to an end. Next week we'll figure something else out. But what do you think of that? Give me some feedback. You like
Yeah,
you like that sort of format?
It was good.
No, it was deadly, but it'd be good if you could like give us more
Yeah.
prep, you know,
Yeah.
bit of an idea of what we're going to be fucking looking at.
Nah, that's ridiculous. Because
I think we
these
should
can
twitch
go
in
to
next
the.
week.
We will.
No, that'd be terrible. All
Yeah,
right,
itch.
but yeah. Anything else you want to add to that one, or maybe actually what I want to add is if you have any games, or any sort of trivia that you want us to do over here at Marn Time, send us a link, send us a comment or a message, and yeah, we're trying to. Of course, us boys, we're sort of all NRL heavy here, so. I mean, we can try and do other sports, but then, yeah, we'll have to definitely research more into that one. But yeah, NRL heavy, and then we'll go from there. But I guess before we finish up, because we're almost finishing up now, I just want to, for those that are viewing this on YouTube, I just want you to, when you do view the video, just to like, maybe share it with a friend or a few friends. But like the video. Like I said, if you want to comment anything, show your support. You can show your support by liking and commenting, even subscribing to the YouTube channel. And for those that sort of don't know how YouTube works, it's when you subscribe to a channel, it's free. It's only until you sort of pay for YouTube, like premium, is when you'd have to pay for YouTube. But you just need a YouTube account to subscribe, and that can just be done through your email. Just go and do that. But as well as over on our page this week, we've just cracked 400 followers. So thank you again for those extra 100 followers from our. I think it was extra 20 followers that we got to crack 100 from the last.
100.
Yeah, imagine.
Imagine.
But yeah, like the page, follow the page, like this video when you see it on YouTube. Of course, we're still trying to grow here, so your support is appreciated, and we're grateful to be able to pump out content for you, as well as these podcasts this podcast that we've started. But yeah, is there anything you boys want to add at all, or anything before we finish up?
These shirts aren't too far away. For those that are watching and are interested in our shirts, we're just trying to find the right suppliers at the moment. We think we found one, but we're just waiting to see how it turns out. And then once we do find that supplier, we'll start getting in some shirts for the mob to wear out there. And same thing, if you are out training or doing some other stuff, don't be afraid to tag us in your journey, whatever you're doing, whether it's a workout, whether it's a walk, whether it's fishing, anything that'll help you clear
Hunting.
your mental space.
Yep.
Hunting. Just tag us, tag Marn Business in whatever you're doing, and we'll reshare it so others can also see your journey that you're on.
Even on the
Yep.
Facebook
Yes.
one as well.
Yeah, thanks for mentioning that, Joe. The Facebook page, it is just invite only, but if you're keen, just send us a message and we'll be able to add your Facebook account into that group. It is just for the Ballas. So that's sort of, like I said last episode, and sort of how we explain the Facebook page. It is for those that, there, like we said, we do like to share things on our Instagram page, which is public. Everyone can see it. So for those that aren't comfortable in sharing stuff and tagging us on Instagram where everyone can see it, all our followers, that Facebook page is just to sort of have that space for the bullers that might not be comfortable in sharing their journey publicly, and they just want to sort of get some words of encouragement from the bullers, or maybe even meet up if you're in Townsville, or even if you're down here in New South Wales, you can always just chuck a message in the group, in the private group, and one of us boys will respond and see what we can do to meet up, or even get you to come along to a session. But yeah, definitely Facebook group. If you're keen on that, we'll send you an invite. But I guess before we finish as well, guys, there's 3 footy games happening tonight. Who we're tipping?
Who's tonight?
Who's
So
the
first
games?
game we have Tigers and Knights. The first game up. Who are we going for?
I've gone Knights.
Knights. Alex.
I don't even know who I've tipped.
I think I went Knights.
Yeah, I'll go Knights. Dane just re-signed, so he might be in
Knights.
for a big game.
And that young fella's pretty deadly at the back there.
Yeah.
What's the name? Armstrong, Daniel
Well,
Armstrong.
little Murray fella too, eh? Or Curry, whatever.
Is he black?
Sits right he sits right on the borderline there.
Oh, Tweed, He's a Tweed fella.
Gundi Windy.
Uh,
Out of that way. Mungandai.
Shout out to Gundawindi. Dragons and Rabbitohs.
Dragons.
I don't know, bro.
I'll say Dragons.
I tip Rabbitohs. I tip Rabbitohs because Latrell's back.
back,
He
yeah.
might just come out with a spark. Well, you want to hope he does. He got his coach fired, so
Let's not talk about our dramas over here down at Redfern. Yeah.
Nah, Dragons.
No, I tipped the Rabbitohs, of course. So Joe's going Dragons. Alex, Rabbitohs,
I'm
Dragons.
I'm going Rabbitohs.
Rabbitohs.
I just reckon Latrell just might come out and just say,
We-
yeah, shove it
We
up.
need to win our second game this year. Far out. And then the last game for the night is Storm Sharks.
That's the top of the table clash, eh?
I'm going to go Storm.
Yeah. Storm's third at the
Where are
moment,
they
and
playing?
Sharks are first. Amy Park.
Yeah, Storm.
Storm.
Jerome Hughes going to
They
score.
have Jerome Hughes.
Monthly going to run them up.
Mm.
Yeah.
Jerome Hughes. They don't have Jerome Hughes, did you say?
Yeah, hamstring, eh?
Oh, well, changing up. No, you.
Yeah,
Let
I'm
me
still
look.
gonna go.
Jerome.
Yeah, Storm.
Munster going to go 2020 Origin mode, but turn it on.
So, Jerome Hughes. Yeah, he's out. Tyron Wishart is 7 tonight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, still going to go Storm.
When's Origin?
3 weeks away.
Ooh, Cleary out. Turbo out.
Yeah, Cleary out. Turbo out. New South Wales.
Yeah,
for this.
Scotty Drinkwater. He might be the fella. He might be the 6.
Well, yeah, Gus was saying on the other night on that show there, you know, you're going to be shocked when they name the team. So you never know, bro. You might be onto something.
Let's just say me and Gus, we yarn up sometimes. Yeah, we go play golf.
Oh, here.
Oh,
But yeah, you know when you were naming your New South Wales team last week, you both didn't put Payne Huss in there. Who cares? But you didn't have him in there.
Well, that's because he's average.
Plays for Broncos. Like, yeah.
Payne Huss, running straight. Yeah.
Stand on his shoe, you'll get him.
Far in. But yeah. All right. We'll end it there because I think we're over time. I think the boss is about to kick me out of the studio here soon. But before we end, thank you for all the support. Of course, if you're going to view this video, thank you for viewing the video. Thank you for sharing, subscribing if you're doing that. But yeah, continue to show your support. We'll pump out content as much as we can, and of course, continue to do these episodes. But yeah, anything else from you, Bullers?
No, I just hope you're liking what we're bringing, and remember, healthy living, heavy lifting.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Peace.
Peace out. Yo, Debiki. Yeah.